Hello, it's great to be here. And actually, this presentation was just called, so thank you, Grant. I'm going to talk about real usage on the blockchain and how we can bring users. I don't know if you guys are aware, I believe most are aware, NEX is a decentralized exchange, a cross-chain decentralized exchange project. But why I'm talking about bringing users to decentralized applications. And I want to show you guys how trading is behind everything we're going to do in this space for the next couple of years. So the mission we have at NEX is clear. We want to guide the ecosystem. We want to guide users through this revolution. So yes, decentralization is a revolution. Everybody here probably agrees with that we are why we are here, right? But if you think about it, it's not something that's really popular with everybody else. It's not something that is accepted everybody else. There's a lot of skeptics on the market, and mostly by the biggest players. And there is reason to do that. And the question that I would like to make is that, are we as a community, as industry, really that popular? So I would like to make two questions here. Please cooperate with that. Who here has traded on an exchange ever? Please, just so, yeah, almost everybody, right? Who here has ever used a DEP? Yeah, exactly what I wanted. So actually, we have two orders of magnitude lower usage than the number of users we have trading. If you look at the biggest exchanges on the market today, they have a couple million users. But the highest usage we have seen for our application is CryptoKitties, and it's 50,000 users. So it's really that the best we can do. And to be clear, that 50,000 users was at peak, and the network couldn't handle it. So we need to do real work there. And why we have so few users? So one of the reasons that we believe this at NEX is that the current users' interfaces, the way you interact with applications, softwares today, be it mobile, be it web, they have a reason to be. They have been distilled by the market. So many applications have been come and go. Players in the market have win and lost. So when you enter in Google and you have this simplistic search bar, there's a reason to be like that, right? Why is not like Yahoo that has news, sports right on your face? Why is just a search bar, right? So there's a reason to be behind that. But seems that we are forgetting that, because if you go to any application on blockchain today, you're going to see a different expectation on the user. I'm going to give you guys an example that should be very clear for you. When you do a trade, I'm going to use the example exchange here because nobody's using applications, right? When you do a trade on exchange, what you do, you are putting money or taking out money, you go there and you select the withdraw windows. Then there is a link for something that they call a block explorer. And you click there, you're going to see a transaction. It's called transaction ID 0x2FAA whatever, send AG whatever to AGKLM. Look at the absurd of that. Let's just ping the same thing, sending something to someone in another field. Imagine that you enter in your bank and you wanted to send money to a friend, and you send money. And on the receipt that you got, instead of rewriting, Ryan gave to Peter 10, is written, I bank 0x2FA on transaction account 02625 to whatever account. That's simply not how people are going to use it. So we need to relearn these lessons that all the financial industry and the software industry bring to us. So to relearn that, we are making a proposition, and I'm going to steal here a phrase that I heard from Alan Curtis. We are in a panel, and he said, decentralized exchange is a verb, not a noun. And this is really key here. So decentralized exchange is not a product. It's not something you enter on. Decentralized exchange is a way to trade. It's a method of how you exchange values. So decentralized exchange can be behind many things. Can be behind the way you use application, can be the way you pay something, can be the way you require some payment. So it's not simply a retail exchange that mimics something you know today. It's the way you trade behind the scenes. All this design, it presents challenges. And this is a map showing the valid entries. So this is trying to filter spammers on NEX lottery. We had a lottery. So we had almost everywhere registrants. We didn't got any from Antarctica, but majority of the other places we could got. So there are more countries here than on UN. How do you design a user interface for such different cultures? If you guys look at your computers today, and they are from a Japanese brand, you're going to see a completely different design than one from an American brand. They are much more utilitarian, direct to the point. So how are we going to provide the same thing? The answer is we can. So we're going to compromise. We're going to cater for a part of the market and then provide the tools that other players on their fields that know their cultures, that respect the user experiences, can build and integrate one. So what I'm going to show here is now the lessons learned that we had in NEX while designing these things for the Western market. So one thing that was really clear, nobody knows what is a private key. Nobody knows what is a public key. Maybe in this public, half of it really knows, but the people that's going to use your software don't know it. So why we need to present that? So we presented a way to enter in our wallet that is a username and a password, and that the users know how to do it. But behind the scenes, regardless of the way it looks, username is actually a hashing salt, and password is actually an encryption key for your private key that's held in a background storage. Does the user need to know it? No. Does the user need to know the size of the TCP/IP package when transacting on the internet? No, it's 64K, nobody knows that. But people is discussing the block size. Why? We need to have a change of mind of how we present our products. If we don't do this, if we don't relearn those lessons, we're never going to get these billions of users. So here you can see we have added a security color. So this is like when you're entering your bank, usually you select an image and a security word that when you enter in your website bank, you know it's not a phishing scam. So we have added the same thing for a wallet. And this is going to be, this is inside an extension that you can install in a Chrome browser and in a couple of days in Firefox and Safari. So why that? Because this can be integrated. And this is an example of how it can be integrated. Here, we are in a website, and we try to purchase a merchandise. So in NEX, most of us are from a community called City of Zion, which develops the new network. And the user was in our website trying to buy some merchandise, but he didn't have the gas. So like when you are in a website, you are using this mostly in a freemium model, you don't have the capability to do this action. You are not prompted to go to Coinbase, acquire a token, wait 2 hours, send that to a wallet that you almost don't know how to work, then send them to Binance, then buy a token, then buy the thing. No, it should be, you don't have that, enter your credit card, play by, go forward. So this is what we're presenting here. The user tried to buy the merchandise, he didn't have it. We know that he's in the US. Now, using the APIs, we have a partner there that sells and buy new and gas on the US. So he can just log in that through the extension, insert his credit card, buy it, and go forward, do his action. The same thing, so this is an example of trade, right? So behind the scenes there, the user needs a token that maybe he don't have it. So here he's doing a bet. The Yanks as the Nationals, who's gonna win? So he's betting on that. But he needs a specific token, which is the bet token, because this is a utility token like the thousands on the market. But nobody has the thousands of the market. If anyone here wanted to do a prediction on Algor today, now, do you have Algor token? Can you do it? Or you have to wait a week until you have the token to buy it? So this is exactly like that. So he don't have bet tokens, but he has NEO on his wallet. So using the DEX, the APIs behind it, we can offer him to buy the bet token using another token. If he don't want to use his assets, he can go ahead and go back to the previous windows and buy with a credit card. So this way, we are using a DEX to put market orders. We are doing market buys, market sells, and the user doesn't know it. There's no candlestick for this user, but he's bringing liquidity to the system. The same thing is when you require payment. When you require payment today, you don't need to ask a complicated string and try to not be scammed and pray that you trust someone, right? What you do is you select the name of the user, you select how much of which token you need, and then you send the payment request. You can look at the last window there. I'm Peter now, and I'm looking that Andrew sent me a request, but I don't have this token. He needs this token for his, I don't know, maybe he's trying to do something that I hired him for him. Maybe he's trying to use the algorithm. But now I can just click there and go back to the previous workflow, right? And do a market buy or do a market sell, put a limit order without knowing it, just acquiring the token that I need on this moment. So I want to stop here just to you guys finish a thing. If you need to acquire utility tokens before using it, it's not capital effective because you're going to spend money that's going to be stopped for an action that you maybe never do. So with all these lessons, we try to say, what is the best that there is in banking experience? So we try to model the same thing that you have on the best mobile. So this is not a mobile app. This is a browser extension. And what we are trying to show here is the same interface that you would expect to just scroll with your fingers, but in a way that is interactable with the web application. So here, we do not make a distinction between tokens. If you look at the list of tokens, they are just show or hidden. But what we want to provide is a wallet that's universal. You can have Ethereum tokens, you can have NEO tokens, you can have icon tokens, doesn't matter. Do the user know which database is their data when they try to access Facebook? It's not on Facebook data. Most of the data that you access when you go to Facebook is on Akamai servers and Edge servers for CDN. But the user don't know that. This is the same thing we want to provide. So if you look again, try to look at here. Try to find the block height and if this wallet is in sync. There's no such thing. Why do a user needs to know what is block height? This is going to be a tough sell for the big mass of users that we want to bring. We are talking about many of these applications. They are supposed to have hundreds of millions of users. But how are they going to teach public key cryptography to hundreds of millions of users? It's not easy. Same thing for sending tokens. Now you can show here that instead of having this key, this transaction ID, we are just showing the recipient, which token he sent, or which tokens he sent and how much. Of course, the details need to be shown. So we have hidden this behind a transaction that is like the statement that you have in your bank. And there you have all the details of the transaction ID. You can go to the block explorer. But that's not what is in your face. What's in your face is what we wanted to do. This is really important. Contacts. It's really hard. So blockchain is not exactly private. Blockchain is anonymous. So what we have is alias on the blockchain. And these are really complicated alias that you don't know how to call. So what we want to provide here is contacts that are encrypted for your user on how you can do these things. Again, these are lessons learned that we have. They are not perfect, and we are iterating on them. So we wanted to present this to the ecosystem as a whole and invite others to try to teach the user a new way to use these things that can be easier and not so complicated. If anyone here has been on a position that I have been as a community leader, you're going to see so much need for support on these basic things. And we need to start to hide these things. Our team is global. So maybe that's why we have this need for globalization. But how do you make this work? You need to be global. So this is just to show what we are building in NEX. We are building this decentralized exchange that is transparent to the users. And our focus is on how users are going to use at mass, not just a few set. We are not trying to migrate the current user of exchanges. We are trying to bring the new wave. Thank you. So I have about 10 minutes for questions.
Hi. I was just wondering if you have planned hardware wallet support for it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah? Is that, like, how far down the
Really
roadmap?
quick, because so we have already built for Ledger on Neon, which is a wallet for City of Zion. So we are adding that same support for the extension.
All right, great.
Yeah. Any more questions?
When is your token sale?
Yeah, that's a big question, right? So are you participating on the lottery?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So the token sale is after April 14. We don't have a strict date yet. So what happens is that we have this application for a license, which is called OTS. So so just to clarify for whoever is not aware, NEX is going to the security hold. So we're going to be the first security token registered in Europe. So what happens right now is that we have this provisory approval, and we're going to do the ICO as soon as we have this document. It's going to be issued in Liechtenstein from Neon Exchange AG. So probably second half of April is when we do both the round 1 and round 2. Yep. Okay, thank you.